Hello everyone, Monty here, and today I'm going to talk about counting calories. And specifically, I'm going to talk about why you need to find out how many calories you need and that you can't go by somebody else's calories. And I get this question all the time, and so I see myself as a teacher when I'm here to try to teach you guys something, just learn from my years of experience of my weight going like this, up and down, and what worked for me, what hasn't. Two top things: eating clean and counting calories, because it's all about calories in, calories out. It's like a mathematical formula, just like your car will get a certain amount of mileage based upon how that engine is, right? How the makeup of the car is. It gets on average X miles per gallon. Now, of course, if you drive a little crazy, you'll get less. If you do things differently with the car, it'll get different gas mileage, the same as your body. So on average, you will need a certain amount of calories to lose weight. And I would say Google articles about calories and losing weight and counting calories, because I believe that's the most important thing you can do. Eating clean and counting calories are the two most important things you can do. I think exercise is only about 20 to 25% of it. I really believe this. And why? Because I exercised like crazy 6 days a week, and I was still gaining weight because I was eating too much sugar. And when I got off sugar, I got more ripped than I ever was. And now I'm counting calories, and I'm going over my calories by like 200, 300 calories a day. I'm not eating any bad food, and I can't shake this last 10 pounds. Why? Because I'm eating more calories than I'm burning. And I've just given myself a little bit of slack, even though I do beat myself up once in a while, because I used to look like I was out of muscle and fitness, and I've showed you guys some pictures, and they're on my Instagram page. I was so ripped. You could see every ab muscle. My abs are gone. And I used to look in the mirror and go, oh my God. Now it's only 10 pounds, but 10 pounds is the difference from me looking at muscle and fitness to me look like I'm starting to get a dad bod. Seriously, right? So, but anyway, let's talk about counting calories. So I kind of blocked somebody today. I did block somebody today because somebody asked me how many calories do you shoot for a day? And I said, you shouldn't really worry about how many calories. And I can understand how maybe it sounded a little curt, right? But I didn't say anything nasty. I said, you shouldn't worry about how many calories I'm burning a day or I shoot for a day. You should find out how many calories you need. And then she said something about, wow, that was rude. And I said, no, it wasn't rude. I'm just trying to explain that you shouldn't care how many calories I take in. You should get an app like Lose It, like I use, and figure out how many calories you need. And that should be the only thing important. Because what does it matter how many calories I eat? We're two totally different people. How is that going to change your life? Find out what you need and then track to that. And I get so frustrated when people ask me this question, because people think, oh, well, if he eats, 1,650 calories a day, that's what I'm going to eat and I'm going to lose weight. Well, maybe you will at a certain point if you're not counting calories, but you'll never get to your goal by doing that. And so here's how it all works. Now, I'm very careful about what I say, because when I used to say, well, I used Lose It in the beginning years ago when I was on Connect, people say, oh, you must be making money off of selling Lose It. So I will say, try out a couple of applications. I happen to use one, and I'm not even going to mention the name because I don't want people to say that. I just wasn't, and I know people love this calorie counter, but I wasn't feeling it. I think really it was the colors, and I also think that it was because I was tired when I was trying it. I wasn't into it. And then the next day I picked up Lose It and I fell in love with it, right? But most of the calorie counters are good. I've never heard anybody say, oh, I hate this calorie counter. So I use Lose It, but I encourage you to try 3 or 4. They're all free for the base model just to count calories. If you want to count macros on Lose It, you got to pay more for it. And I did pay for it for the first year. I'm not going to pay for it next year because I don't use the macros anymore. So I'm not going to talk about macros today. That's a whole nother chat. But when you download any calorie counter, what they're going to tell you is they're going to ask you a whole bunch of questions first. Not tell you, they're going to ask you. And your height, your weight, your age, your activity level, your goals. These are all things that are really important to know, and then it'll calculate based upon that your calories. And for me, it's been very accurate. I mean, for me, and I'll tell you guys because I'm talking about calorie counting, if I'm not exercising at all, I get 1,650 calories. And if I work out, I get more calories. this has worked for me so well. I eat below the calories, I lose weight. I eat the calories, I maintain. I go above, I gain weight. I've been going above where I want to be. I want to be back down to 142. I'm like 152, right? So, at 152, eating 300 above my calories, I'm going to stay there. If I want to get back down to 142 to that ripped body, because I don't have a problem with working out, although I can't work out because of my leg for a couple of weeks, and I'm already telling I'm gaining weight. Let me tell you about something else that happened. So I finally took all my 28 and 29 shorts. When I was 142, my 28s were even falling off of me. Literally, I was so skinny down here at my waist, it was unbelievable. 28s and 29 went into the guest room. I'm not giving them away, but I went out and bought a whole bunch. There was a big sale at the store when it first opened up. I put my mask on. There was nobody in the store. I bought a whole bunch of 30s, right? So I'm wearing 30s again, which I haven't worn like 3.5, 4 years. I was like 28, 29 were all my shorts, and the 28s were falling off of me. The 29s were like swimming on me. And so I believe, because so many times I've gone up and down, up and down. I started Weight Watchers like 26 years ago, something like that. And for 24 years, I was on Weight Watchers, and I was counting points. And the reason why I got off Weight Watchers is because really there was like 1 point equaled 50 calories way back when in the program. And about 2 years ago, they changed it with 0-point foods. Well, somebody like me who's obsessed with food, I took that, I can eat whatever I wanted. And any amount of chicken, I could have 5 chicken breasts, I can have 10 eggs. And I was doing that because I have an obsessive personality. I have an obsessive personality with food. What I do now is I obsess on healthy food. If I wasn't eating clean with all the calories I'm eating right now, I would be like 300 pounds again. Especially as stressed out as I am with work and Corona and all that stuff. I'm eating all the time, but I'm eating healthy food, so my body can pretty much absorb it, but I'm still 10 pounds over where I want to be. So I'm not getting rid of the 28s, 29s, because I'm hoping to get back there again, but my pants were just I couldn't fit into them. I couldn't even close them anymore. So now I'm at 30s, and they're starting to get snug, but I realize it's only because I can't work out. I haven't worked out for a week and a half because of the leg. I know that these 30s will be loose again. Whether I'll get down to the 28 or 29 again is a whole other story. But back to the Weight Watchers. So up until 2 years ago, until they came out with 0-point foods, every time I counted points, which was really counting calories, I'd lose weight. Every time and then I would get down to my goal. Every time I stopped tracking, counting my points or counting my calories, I would gain the weight back. I had 24 years of this experience. And then when I started counting calories, when I started gaining weight on Weight Watchers with the 0-point foods, I said to myself, it must be the calories. Let me try calorie counting. I had an instinct. That was it. As soon as I started the calorie counting, boom, I lost the 9 pounds that I gained, and I was totally fine. And it wasn't up until about 6 months ago where just a whole host of things happening in my life. I started eating more than my calories. I gained the 10 pounds, and I kind of leveled off at that 10 pounds, 10, 15, sometimes up and down a little bit, but not more than 15. And I just can't seem to get back to that 8% body fat, working out exactly the same. So I'm convinced I have 26 years of counting calories of experience. Every time I stopped, I gained the weight back. So I always say, track, 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 or you'll gain the weight back. That's counting calories. And I feel lucky that it was only 10 or 15, because years ago when I stopped Weight Watchers, I would gain 30 to 40 pounds, get back on Weight Watchers, track again, was tracking Weight Watcher points, which was calories back then, and I would lose all the weight. 4 times I stopped tracking, 4 times I gained 30 to 40 pounds, 30 to 40 pounds, and I lost it as soon as I started tracking again. So for me, this last time that I had the weight loss, 44 years ago, I said, I'm never going to stop tracking. I just have to make the decision and promise myself I'll never stop tracking for life. And I haven't stopped tracking even with this 10 to 15 pound weight gain. But again, I'm eating too many calories. But when I want to get serious, when I really want to get back to that 8% body fat, then I'll do something. The funny thing is that my mother, my friends all tell me I look better now because my face gets really, really gaunt. If you look back, when I started this, I was about 142. If you go back to my first couple of posts and scroll all the way back, I was 142. That was a year ago. You can see the difference in my face. People said my face looked too skinny. Everyone says I look better now, but I take my shirt off and I'm like, ugh. Before I used to take my shirt off and go, wow, I can't believe this is my body. at 56, years old, or 55, because I'm 56 now. It was about 6 months ago that I was about 142. So I want to stress to you how important, number one, it is to count the calories. It's like everything else I say. It's going to be hard at first. It is going to be hard. It's not easy. I always say, set yourself up for success. Say it's going to be hard. It seems like a pain in the ass. Now for me, it's just normal that I make my meal. Sometimes I put the calories in my calorie counter as I'm building the meal to see what I want to put in and what I don't. Want the meal to be too many calories. Sometimes I do it afterwards, but I'm counting in my head how many calories it is. And it's like nails on a chalkboard when somebody says to me, Monty, how many calories should I eat a day? And most of the times they don't have a picture on their profile. I don't know if I'm talking to a man. I don't know if I'm talking to a woman. I don't know how old you are. I don't know what your activity level is. So if you ask that question to somebody and they immediately tell you, you should have 2,000 calories a day, they're a fraud, right? They should be asking you a million questions. And so one of the reasons why two reasons mainly why I don't like that question. Number one, because I'd be a fraud if I answered it. And it's like when they say how many calories should they need, I feel like I'd be a fraud if I said something and I don't have time to go back and forth and say, okay, now I would have to type up a whole long thing. Tell me your sex, your age, your height, your goal, your activity level. Are you on any medication? I would be writing a 3-page thing and then I'd have to analyze it to tell you how many calories you're gonna need, right? You can go into a calorie counter immediately and they will do it all for you and tell you exactly how many calories you need. They won't ask you about medication, so if you're not losing weight on the calorie counter, just maybe you need to dial it back a little bit, a little less calories, because maybe you're on some medication that's affecting your metabolism. I'm going to do a chat on that. Maybe tomorrow I'll do a chat on that. But, and then I just really hate when people say to me, and it's like nails on a chalkboard, I hear, when they ask me, it's like, hey Monty, how many calories do you eat a day? How many calories I eat a day doesn't matter to you. And I don't want to go into this whole long thing and then explain to them because, like today, I just want to say, go get an app. I told her and figure out what calories you need because what I need doesn't mean anything to you. And she took that as being very rude, which I can understand. But when she called me rude, it just pushed my hot button and I blocked her because I'm like, okay, and maybe that's wrong of me, but I'm so busy between work and doing this, and I just don't have patience for people who are going to be nasty to me. Maybe she thought I was being nasty, and I feel a little bit bad if that's what was happening, but I just feel so strongly. Don't worry about what anybody else's calories are. Even if your friend is the same exact height, weight, and age as you, your best friend, don't worry about what calories don't try to mock hers, right? Because there's a lot of things about muscle density that if she has got 20% body fat and you have 30% body fat, lean muscle mass burns less calories at rest. So she'll burn more calories than you just by doing nothing, all right? There's so many complexities to it. I'm running out of time. I want to go on. So I urge you, if you really want to know how many calories you are, download a calorie counter and respond to all the questions, find out what you need. And if you're still not losing weight, then maybe I'll do a chat tomorrow. What other reasons why maybe you're not losing weight? But the first thing I would say is dial your calories back a little bit from what the app says. Now, I was talking to my friend the other day and she was saying, I don't even go by this 100%. If it says I need 1,600, I just automatically take 200 off the top. If it gives me 400 calories for exercise, she says, I do 200 for exercise. I don't do the full amount, and she never gains any weight. She's like perfect. So maybe I need to start doing that, but I'm a volume eater, and so that's why I've been having trouble losing this last 10 to 12 pounds or 15 or whatever it is. I'm afraid to get on the scale now since I haven't worked out in 2 weeks. But anyway, that's my chat today about calories and what you need per day. And I hope you're all having a great day. It's storming here. It's ugly. My dog's having a nervous breakdown. Sushi, she hates the storm, so she's panting in a corner, shaking. I just gave her a Xanax. But I hope you all have a great day and evening, and I'll be talking to you tomorrow.